Team Canada wins 5-1 against the Swiss. The Swiss hung around. They did good. I'm not going to lie. I was very impressed by how close it was. I get it. 5-1 isn't close. 5-1's still a blowout win. But this is Team Canada. This is this version of Team Canada. Right now, this might be the greatest hockey team ever made. Like McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, Makar, Celebrini, Stone. Like, just... It is a laundry list of future Hall of Famers, if we're being honest. This team is amazing. You know, our worst player is, top 30, top 40 player in the world? Our worst player. The Swiss, their best players are good. They're way better than I'll ever be. They aren't McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, Makar, Stone, Bennett, Harley. They aren't any of them. They aren't the best of the best of the best of the best. They're best of the best. But Canada is on a whole other level. Losing 5-1. First off, getting one in general is amazing against this team. But holding Team Canada, holding us to 5 goals, that is an achievement. Czechia lost to us 5-0. Czechia is a really formidable opponent. Czechia is supposed to be a really tough out. And we rolled over them. I think a lot of people, after watching that game, expected us to really put the Swiss to work. 5-1? Honestly, this game is the reason why our game against France is interesting. Because if we win this game by like 10, especially after the US are, doing well, but right now our goal differential over the US going into our game against France is +2. We have 2 more goals than, or we have a 2-goal better differential. They actually have 11, but the difference is they've allowed 4, and we have only allowed 1. So they have 7 more goals than they've allowed. We have 9. If this was like a 10-1 win, like I think a few people were expecting after the Czechia game, if this was like a blowout win where we win by like 8, and instead of being +2, we go into the France game already +5. Oh, it's not even a worry. Like, are we gonna score 5 against France? Probably. Probably, yeah. Now we go into our final game against France, and yeah, we need to beat them badly. Which, I mean, it kind of sucks. Like, I will be the first to admit, especially I'm a big IHF guy. I really like the World Juniors. And watching Team Canada score to bring the game from 8-0 to 9-0 with 12 minutes left in the third period, you can't even cheer for that. You're like, great. Yeah, we're up by 9 now. That other team, they must feel so great. Like, yeah, sure, when you score in a close game, you don't care how the other team feels. But, like, when you won the game back in the second period and you still need to put in another 3, it's like, cool. And that's what we need to do against France. Because, again, if we win this game by 8, this is the game where we do that, then, against France, it's like, score 5 and we're good? But no, honestly, I would say, for me to feel comfortable, for me to feel confident and comfortable, I'd want Canada to win by 6 against France. I'd want them to go in and beat France by 6 goals or more. This way, we would have an 8-goal lead. I don't see the Americans beating Germany by 8. I could maybe see 7. I could see that happen, and I think it at least gives them a bit more of a window where I feel like 8 or 9 is enough of a deficit where, the Americans might go into that game against Germany knowing that they aren't going to get first. That it is a very unlikely situation. Whereas I think 6 or 7 is where you can go into that game and be like, yeah, we could score 6 against the Germans. We could do it. We just need our goaltenders to hold the fort down, but we could do it. Yeah, we could win 7-0. That's in the realm of possibility. When you put it out of, and when you do that, when you go into the game thinking you can do that, you play like you can. If you put it out of reach enough and you go into the game needing like 11 goals to get first, you just assume it's not going to happen, so you aren't playing like a team that needs 11 goals. Does that make sense? You know, if you know you're going to lose anyways, you're going to play like a team that's going to lose. If you know already Canada's locked up first place, you're going to play like a team that isn't going to get first place. But if Canada leaves just enough of the door open, just enough, then you're going to play like a team that is trying to win first in the seeding. I do have confidence in Canada's ability to beat France. I could see us winning that game by 10. Like, it's a good Canadian team. I would not be surprised if we just beat the brakes off of France. And Germany's good. Like, okay, I know good it's contextual. But by that I mean, like, is Germany going to win the gold medal? No. Almost certainly not. If Germany wins the gold medal in hockey this year, it would be the biggest upset in the history of the sport. It would be a monumental breakdown from multiple really powerful hockey nations. But is Germany the kind of team that can at least kind of keep up? Like what Switzerland did. Switzerland lost 5-1. Is Switzerland going to win the gold? No. No, they aren't. But can they prevent a hockey power from running up the score? As we saw, yes, they absolutely can. 5-1, that's I've seen the Sens lose by worse this season. 5-1 is like a reasonable hockey score. Yeah, it means that one team dominated the other team. But it's not like those scores that you only see in international hockey. Those 10-0, 12-1. Those games where you're like, oh my gosh, like this game is done by the second. They gave us reason to watch the third period. I think that is the biggest way I can emphasize how good the Swiss played. They gave the third period a reason to watch. The game starts early on. You know, we're the much better team. We get a power play. It's the Team Canada power play. Makar to McKinnon to McDavid. He scores. What a best power play I've ever seen in my life. That power play is brutal. Reinhardt is the worst player on the power play. Because the others are like, arguably top 5 players? Makar, Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid. There's an argument for all 4 of them being, McDavid is number 1 in my opinion. I would say that McKinnon is the second best player in the world. There's at least an argument that Makar is 3 or 4, and there's at least an argument that Crosby's number 5 right now. They're on the same power play at the same... Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? No one's stopping that. No one in the world, no team in the world is stopping this power play. McDavid scores 1-0. And then McDavid to Harley. It's 2-0. Just like that. 2-0. Canada leads. This is where I was starting to think, it's first period. It's already 2-0. Maybe we're going to see us just run away with this one. You know, Switzerland's playing well, but they're no Team Canada. And then we take a penalty. And that kind of shifts things. Switzerland has a really good power play. They do. And Pia Sutter, after a shot kind of floats by Logan Thompson, he's right there. He bangs it in 2-1. And while, yes, the rest of the period, Canada is the better team. Canada looks better than the Swiss. That is how the period ends. Canada only up by 1 goal. That, again, we talk about windows of opportunity. This is how upsets happen. A team that should be getting beaten by, 3 or 4 is only down 1. And they can steal a win. In the second period, I thought the second period we played great. I thought every period we played great. Every period Canada has been amazing. And early in the second, McKinnon gets it to Celebrini, who is an open space. Celebrini, he is the future of the NHL. That's something that I think in the future, everyone's going to be talking about. That there was a time where Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, and Macklin Celebrini were on the same team. That's I think that the next best player in the world is going to be Macklin Celebrini. It was Crosby for a while, for like a decade. It was Sidney Crosby. Then it was Connor McDavid. And honestly, it's going to be Connor McDavid for a while. Probably for about a decade. And when Connor McDavid reaches Sidney Crosby's age, and he is no longer the best player in the world, he's just like top 5. I think that it goes to Celebrini. I think he's going to be the next unanimous best player in the world. And they are all playing on... there was a real argument to be made that the best player from 2009 to potentially, I'm going to do my math quickly, he would be, 18, 19 right now? Let's give it another, say, until he's 32. So another 12 years from now? So let's call it 2039. There's a real argument to be made that the best player from 2009 and the best player from 2039 and the best players in between all of those seasons are on the same team right now. They're on the same team. I'd say by 2009, we could pretty inarguably say that Crosby was the best player in the world. And then obviously we have McDavid. And I think by 2039, it'll be Celebrini. There's a real argument to be made that 3 decades of the greatest player in the world are playing for this team. One feeds another, and it's 3-1. But again, they're keeping up. And, it is really impressive. The second period, we get a power play. They kill it all. They kill off that power play. And the Swiss, we kill off a Swiss power play, but it looks dangerous. The Swiss are a scary good, sneaky good team. As I'm making this video, they just beat Czechia. And I wish I could say that surprises me, but honestly, they are a team that can be sneaky and beat a hockey power like Czechia. This game proved that. This is proof of concept. We live in a world where Czechia and Sweden are both going to be third in their division. This is going to, all the more reason why you need that 1 seed, where you need to beat the brakes off of France. The third period is where we put things away. But 3-1 going into the third is a game. It is a window. If they hold us off for a good chunk of the third and they pull their goalie, you don't know what happens. I've seen crazier. That's still commendable. They could have gone into the second period down 7. No one would have blamed them. No one would have blamed them. Oh, that's Team Canada. What are you going to do? It was 3-1 going into the second. Do you know how common that is in the NHL? 3-1 going into the second. Do you know how often the team that has 1 wins? Oh, sure. More often than not, if you go into the third period down 3-1, you're probably going to lose. But game's not over. If the shots are completely favoring one team and that team is up 3-1 as the third period is about to start, the team that's losing, they say, well, no, we can do it. We're going to need to play a whole lot better. But the crazy thing is sometimes they do it. They score 2 goals in the third period, they force overtime, and they win. Sometimes they score 3 in the third period, and there's no need for overtime. And despite the first 40 minutes being heavily favored to one team, they find a way. And the Swiss put themselves in a position where that could have happened. Now, yes, it's Team Canada. That's not going to happen. But, again, proof of concept. They just beat a major hockey power. And honestly, with how Finland and especially Sweden have played, I wouldn't even be surprised if they're able to pull off an upset against a team like Sweden. I know, I'm probably crazy for saying that, but so the 2 hockey powers that have truly looked like themselves all tournament, Canada and the United States. The other ones, Finland, I think they made a statement against Italy winning 11-0, and I think that there's a reason why they would make a statement like that, because you need to. You lost to Slovakia. Slovakia won the division. Not Finland, not Sweden, the teams that everyone assumed going in. No, it's Slovakia. That's the new hockey power. Slovakia, move over, Sweden and Czechia, move over. It's Slovakia and Switzerland that we need to worry about. And honestly, yeah, we might. We might more than them. I am more confident in our ability to go against the Czechs again than I am against Slovakia. I really am. I know it sounds wild, but genuinely, semifinal, I'd rather face Czechia than Slovakia. I genuinely would rather face Czechia. I'm more confident that we would beat the brakes off of them than I am Slovakia. Slovakia, sneaky good this tournament. They might medal. They might medal because, I mean, we know that, Sweden gonna face the 2 seed if they move on in all likelihood. We know that at least one of the major hockey powers will almost certainly be out in the quarterfinals. Could Slovakia get another upset in the bronze medal game? Genuinely? Yeah, I think they could. I think Slovakia could get a medal. I love Olympic hockey. So yeah, in the third period, we, early on, Makar, Marner, Crosby, Sidney Crosby in the Olympics. You knew he was going to do something nasty. 4-1. Canada leads. Celebrini takes a penalty. Again, we have to kill it off. We got our best kill against the Swiss, but the Swiss looked good on the power play, and Celebrini makes up for it. He sends it to McDavid, who sends it to McKinnon. It's 5-1. McDavid and McKinnon both with 3-point nights. McDavid is on a tear at the Olympics. Oh my goodness. Back-to-back 3-point games. And then we get the one part of the game that there is nothing good to say about it. Kevin Fiala's injury. That looked bad. He was stretchered off, stomach down. That is never a good sign. Now, I'm not going to speculate, but from my understanding, and my parents work in the medical field, that's typically the sign of a break. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. Knock on wood. Hopefully, he'll be back quickly, but that is not what you want to see. You never want to see a player like that go down. You never want to see anyone go down like that, but this is why NHL players have not gone to the games for 12 years. Because you got to remember, there's a whole franchise that's losing a good player for a while in a 5-1 loss in a game that doesn't even affect the Los Angeles Kings. It's Canada and Switzerland. It didn't even benefit the Americans, which is where Los Angeles is from. And I just want to say something. This is sadly a fact of playing hockey. And by that, I don't want to diminish the injury. That is awful. More what I'm saying is, if you want the sport to grow, the Olympics is a really good way to do that. NHL players at the Olympics is the best way to do that. And it comes at the risk of NHL players getting injured. It's probably going to happen. Because if you think about it, that's 2 weeks worth of hockey. In any 2-week stretch in the NHL, the odds that one good NHL player is going to get injured are through the roof. It almost, I would be shocked if you can find me any 2-week period where games are being consistently played between NHL teams. If you can find me any 2-week period where there were 0 injuries, none, you won't find it. It doesn't exist. So you can either absolutely refuse to grow the game so that all the injuries only happen in NHL games between NHL teams with NHL players, or you accept the fact that if you want to grow the game, which is good for the NHL, which in the long term is going to be good for every NHL franchise because it will improve the depth of talent that we will have available to us. Because there are going to be Swiss kids who, despite the loss, are going to be asking their mom and dad to get hockey in their lives. Get hockey skates, get a hockey stick. They want to play hockey now. It was such a cool game. It was so fun. I want to play hockey. I mean, look, we don't really need to grow the game that much in Ottawa. It's a staple. It is part of the culture of this city. It's so heavily ingrained in Canadian culture in general. But in other countries, where they're going to get to see like that's the beauty of Team Canada. Even if they are beating your team badly, just watching it's magnificent. And if you think, oh man, I could play like that one day if I really put my mind to it, that's how you grow the game. So ultimately, it is a good thing for the NHL to be at the Olympics. And ultimately, yeah, we're gonna have some of these things happen, and it sucks, and it's a reality. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that the recovery is quick. For it to happen that late in the game, in a game that's already decided, it sucks. It really sucks. I have a friend who doesn't like Olympic hockey. I know, weirdo. Doesn't like Olympic hockey. And this is why. But my thought process is, okay, so he would have gotten injured in an NHL game instead. Not like he specifically would have gotten injured in the exact same way, but someone else in the NHL would have gotten injured in an NHL game. There would have been some other major injury, and the difference is that it wouldn't have been an Olympic game. It would have been an NHL game. It's a difference of what? 5 or 6 games? In a 2-week span, that's how many a team might play, right? 7, let's call it 7 games. Okay, so really you've lost maybe 7 games that you otherwise would have had. Because let's not pretend like the opposite isn't also true. Batherson, Chabot, Giroux, they're not getting injured these 2 weeks. As essentially, all your players that don't go to the Olympics, their odds of getting injured drastically decrease. At the end of the day, you just hope for the fastest recovery possible. That sucks to see. I hope he gets better soon. But he did his nation proud. He did his country proud. And if there's anything to take away from it, it's that an entire world was watching, and he showed more guts and more bravery than a lot of us will ever get to show with an audience of the entire world. And as always, go Canada, go.